I want you to take a deep breath before we dive in, because this video is not just another personality analysis, not just another breakdown of traits or quirks that we share as the rarest personality type in the world. This one is different. This one is heavy. This one is about your life story, the hidden phases that only INFJs will ever truly understand, because it's not just about how you think, or how you feel, or how the world misunderstands you. It's about the timeline of your entire existence, the 3 undeniable phases that mark your journey as an INFJ. And here's the truth. Most people will never notice these phases. They'll look at you and think you're quiet, kind, mysterious, or maybe just different, but they'll never know that beneath the surface, you've lived through storms that other personalities would crumble under. They'll never know that phase 2 nearly breaks you, that it drags you into darkness you never asked for, and that it demands strength you didn't even know you had. And yet, it is precisely because of that crushing phase that you will rise into phase 3 with a power that no one saw coming. So today, I'm walking you through these 3 phases. I want you to listen carefully, not just with your mind but with your soul, because as an INFJ, you've probably questioned your timeline. You've probably asked yourself why your life feels so different, so misunderstood, so alien compared to everyone else. You've probably wondered why you can't just fit in, like other people seem to do so easily. And this video, it's the answer. Phase 1 is your awakening. Phase 2 is your collapse. Phase 3 is your rebirth. And trust me, Phase 2 is the hardest, but it is also where the seeds of your true INFJ power are planted. So, let's begin. Phase 1. The awakening of the INFJ self. Phase 1 begins early, sometimes in childhood, sometimes in those confusing teenage years, but for every INFJ, it's marked by the same pattern. The sense that you were never quite like everyone else. Other children play games and don't think too much about them. They run, they laugh, they make friends easily, but you notice things. You notice when another child is left out. You notice the disappointment in your teacher's eyes even when she smiles. You notice the tension between your parents in the quiet of the night. And the strange part is, you're not just noticing. You're feeling it. Deep in your bones, you absorb it. For INFJs, phase 1 is the awakening, because this is when your intuition begins to stretch its wings. You might not have had words for it yet, but you felt different, tuned into something invisible. And that difference is both your gift and your curse. While others are living in the simplicity of childhood or teenage discovery, you're already processing complexity. You're already asking questions about purpose, about meaning, about why people say one thing and mean another. You might even remember being called too sensitive, or too serious, or too intense. You might remember staying awake at night, not because of fear of the dark, but because of fear of the unknown, the aching awareness that life was deeper, more fragile, and more complicated than anyone around you seemed to realize. And here's where the INFJ trap begins in phase 1. You try to make sense of yourself by comparing yourself to others. You notice they don't feel as deeply. You notice they move on quickly while you're still processing. You notice they thrive in social groups where you feel like an outsider. And because you're young, you assume something must be wrong with you. So you start masking. You start blending. You start pretending. Because phase 1 INFJs don't want to stand out for the wrong reasons, they want to belong. They want someone to look at them and say, I get you. But instead, what usually happens is misunderstanding. People mistake your quietness for shyness, your intuition for daydreaming, your empathy for weakness. And so, Phase 1 is where the INFJ seed is planted but buried, hidden under layers of self-doubt, self-suppression, and the hope that maybe, just maybe, you'll find someone who finally understands you. The tragedy of Phase 1 is that you often give too much of yourself away. You become the listener, the comforter, the fixer, even before you know who you are. And this sets the stage for Phase 2, the hardest phase of all. Phase 2. The crushing middle years, the hardest phase. Now, let's move into Phase 2, the one that will almost destroy you, the one that separates INFJs from every other type, the one that hurts so deeply that only someone living inside an INFJ mind could ever understand. Phase 2 usually begins in young adulthood or early career years. This is when you step into the world and realize just how hostile it can be to people like you. This is when reality doesn't just nudge you, it slams into you. Here's what happens. As an INFJ, you've always carried this secret belief that once you grow up, things will finally make sense, that maybe adulthood will bring clarity, stability, and belonging. But instead, Phase 2 teaches you the opposite. It strips away illusions. It throws you into relationships where you give and give until you're empty. It places you in careers where your creativity and insight are ignored because you don't play the shallow office politics game. It drags you into situations where people betray you, not because you're weak, but because you cared too much. Phase 2 is about collision, your inner world colliding with the outer world. And it hurts. This is the phase where INFJs often experience burnout. Not just the kind of burnout where you're tired from work, but soul-deep burnout. The kind where you wonder if life is worth it. The kind where you feel invisible, unseen, unappreciated, and utterly alone. You try to explain your feelings, but people call you dramatic. You set boundaries, but people call you cold. You withdraw to protect yourself, but people call you selfish. It's as if every attempt to defend your fragile INFJ heart backfires, and soon you're questioning not just your choices but your entire identity. Phase 2 is also when many INFJs face betrayal. Friends you thought were soulmates disappear. Partners you trusted break you. Family members misunderstand you. And because you're an INFJ, betrayal doesn't just sting, it shatters. It shakes your very faith in humanity. And here's why Phase 2 is the hardest. Because this is where INFJs often lose themselves. They lose touch with their vision, their creativity, their spiritual fire. They bury their dreams under obligations, their intuition under noise, their soul under survival. But, and this is important, Phase 2 is also the furnace. It is the fire that burns away the illusions, the naivety, the masks you wore in Phase 1. It's where you learn, through tears and heartbreak, that you cannot live your life for others. It's where you discover the dark truth that not everyone has the same depth, the same loyalty, the same capacity for empathy that you do. Phase 2 crushes you. But it also prepares you. Because without the collapse of Phase 2, you would never rise into Phase 3. Phase 3. The Phoenix Rising, rebirth into true INFJ power. And now, Phase 3. If you've reached this phase, or if you're crawling your way toward it, know this. You've survived the hardest part. You've endured the fire of Phase 2, and now it's time for the rebirth. Phase 3 is when INFJs stop apologizing for who they are. It's when you finally realize that your depth is not a curse but a gift, that your intuition is not something to suppress but to follow, that your empathy is not weakness but strength. In Phase 3, INFJs rise like the phoenix. You reclaim your boundaries, not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. You reclaim your creativity, not for validation, but because it is your lifeline. You reclaim your voice, not to shout louder than others, but to speak the truth that only you can see. This is the phase where INFJs step into their authentic selves. You stop chasing belonging in the wrong places and start creating your own space. You stop begging to be understood and start embracing the rare beauty of being misunderstood. You stop pouring into empty vessels and start protecting your energy for those who truly deserve it. And the most beautiful part? In Phase 3, INFJs often step into their calling. Whether it's writing, art, healing, teaching, leading, or simply living authentically, you finally begin to live for yourself. And when you do, your light becomes impossible to ignore. People who once overlooked you now look up to you. People who once dismissed you now wonder how you became so unshakable. People who once hurt you now see that they can no longer touch you. Phase 3 is freedom. It's healing. It's power. But most of all, it's peace. The peace that comes from knowing you've survived the storm and emerged not weaker, but stronger. So, INFJs, where are you right now? Are you still in Phase 1, trying to make sense of your sensitivity? Are you in Phase 2, struggling to survive the crushing weight of misunderstanding and betrayal? Or are you finally stepping into Phase 3, rising into your true INFJ power? Wherever you are, remember this: your timeline is not broken. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are exactly where you need to be. Phase the second of may be the hardest, but it's not the end. It's the turning point. It's the fire that prepares you for your rebirth. And Phase 3, the Phoenix phase, is waiting for you. So, if this resonated with you, drop a comment below and let me know which phase you're in. Share your story, because your words might be the lifeline another INFJ desperately needs right now. And if you're ready to dive even deeper into the INFJ life, make sure you subscribe, because this channel is your sanctuary. Your reminder that you are not alone, that you are understood, and that your path, no matter how heavy, has purpose. This is your life as an INFJ. Phase 1, awakening. Phase 2, crushing. Phase 3, rising. And trust me, the rise is worth it.